This is it, the matchup a lot of you have been waiting for, the Sony Xperia XE Premium against the iPhone 8 Plus. And let's go right to it. Now, obviously, a lot of people waiting for the iPhone 10, although the 8 and the 10 have a lot in common. And for the purposes of the speed test, both of them have the A11 chipset, so maybe pretty similar in terms of speed. And extremely fast boot up time here for the iPhone 8. And the Sony up as well. So while playing for this test, and next up, let's go over the specs of both phones. Both these phones pretty similar in terms of size and 5.5 inch screens. Now on the Sony, you have a 4K screen, only the second phone in the world with a 4K screen. The first being its predecessor, the Z5 Premium. And on the 8 Plus, you have a 1080p screen. We'll be doing a front-facing camera test later in the video. On the Sony 13 megapixels, on the iPhone 7. Looking at the back, you see two sensors here on the iPhone, both of them are 12 megapixels. And on the Sony one camera at 19 megapixels, and we'll be having a lot of comparisons of that in the future. Internal storage on the XE Premium, 64 gigabytes, and you do have micro SD card support. On the iPhone, you have 64 256 and no micro SD card support. Larger battery on the Sony, 3230 capacity, and on the iPhone, 2675. Snapdragon 35, 4GB RAM on the Sony, A11 chipset, and 3GB RAM on the iPhone. Both these phones have stereo speakers, and we'll be testing out later in the video. Both phones are waterproof, but higher certification here for the Sony, IP68 versus 67. Looking at the bottom, you see USB Type-C on the Sony versus a Lightning port on the iPhone. Now the Sony does have a headphone jack, the iPhone is not. And look around the edges here. So headphone jack there at the top on the Sony. Beautiful designs on the back of both these phones. Now on the iPhone, you do have a glass back, so you have wireless charging. And let's go ahead and continue with the test. Alright everyone, so all the apps closed out on both phones. And first up we have NBC News. And that one going to the Sony was refreshing on the iPhone. iFunny. Again, Sony here. And YouTube. Once again, Sony here. Calculator. And clock. eBay, or rather photos. Two different photo apps, but the gallery is not much faster there on the Sony. eBay. So as you guys saw, iPhone winning the photos. And believe that was the Sony. Okay guys, Amazon. Now you're going to see the biggest differences here with the, again, this one going to the Sony. Now you're going to see the biggest differences here with the games, so Mortal Kombat 5 first. And this right here, pretty easy win for the iPhone. And Temple Run 2. And it looks like this may be the Sony by about a millisecond. Yep, Sony there. And final game. So Snapdragon holding up pretty well here against A11 chipset. Asphalt 8. And I think this one will go to the iPhone. Actually going to the Sony, so very, very impressive there for the Sony. Alright guys, let's take a look at AnTuTu next. Now as you guys see, higher score here on the iPhone, 214,000 versus 180. Now a lot of people say AnTuTu is better optimized for iOS, but extremely impressive score here regardless. Okay guys, moving on to more stuff. Let's do Chrome next. Clearing out the web history on both. And close out, go back in. Okay guys, 4 sites. Let's do IGN first. IGN.com. Now, if you're an iOS user, let me know in the comment section below what you prefer using. So this one going to the Sony. IMDb.com next. And personally, guys, I do use Chrome for everything. But again, if you're an iOS user, let me know if you use Safari or Chrome. And may change up the web browser in the future. IMDb. Again, Sony here looks pretty easy win as well. Okay, two more. Let's do Apple and then Sony. Apple.com. Once again, Sony here. Sony.com. And once again, we have the Sony here. And this so you guys can see we are on the same Wi-Fi network for both. But pretty easy win there for Chrome on the Sony. Speaker test next. Now both these phones, excellent speakers, great quality. And both of them actually have two on them. So first up we have Sony. iPhone. Okay guys, so in terms of loudness, obviously no contest here, easily going to the iPhone. But let me know in the comment section below if you get the quality. Camera speed next. And let's go ahead and bring in Shy Guy for this. Now we'll of course have lots of camera comparisons in the future. But for now we're just testing out the speed. And we'll have a front-facing camera test during this video. Actually coming up right after this. And this one going to the iPhone. So the iPhone extremely fast taking pictures. No, that one right there was a Sony, and now it's a Sony as well. So yeah, maybe a bit split here. And quick test of the front-facing cameras on both these phones. So holding them both in the same hand, going to be repeating the clips. And on the Sony, you have a 13 megapixel camera on the iPhone 7. And it's just something with stabilization here. And quick test of the front-facing cameras on both these phones. So holding them both in the same hand, going to be repeating the clips. And on the Sony, you have a 13 megapixel camera on the iPhone 7. And it's just something with stabilization here. Fingerprint scanner speed next. Both these phones have great placement. On the iPhone, it's right here. And on the Sony, it's over here on the side. So testing out the speed. And looks to be a tad faster here on the Sony. Now, both these fingerprint scanners are excellent. As you guys know, most companies putting them on the back of the phones this year. But not with these two. And actually, the iPhone 10 won't even have one at all. Okay guys, so last will be multitasking. And let's go into one of the tougher ones first, Temple Run 2. Okay, excellent. Not reloading on either phone. Really good sign. And let's do another game, Asphalt 8. Again, excellent sign. Neither phone reloading it. Mono Combat. Okay, so this one is reloading on the Sony, but not on the iPhone. So this one does go to the iPhone. Although it is still reconnecting on the iPhone, so it actually was pretty close. All the way back towards the beginning, let's do NBC News. And this one completely refreshing here on the iPhone, so going to the Sony. And once again, back towards the beginning with iFunny. And that one going to the iPhone. Let's do YouTube. Now this app always does refresh on Android but not on iOS, so that one going to the iPhone. Although you do get newer results on Android, so I think that's intentionally done. And a few more was to eBay. And this one going to the iPhone. Camera. And there's a few more with Amazon. This one going to the iPhone. AnTuTu. Very close on both. To Chrome. And I think that may have been the Sony, but very close on both. And final one was to Photos. I think that was the iPhone. And then let's try reloading some of these apps, so Temple Run 2. Alright, good. They're still in the memory for both phones. And Asphalt 8. Again, very good sign, both still in the memory. And final one, let's do Mono Combat. And reconnecting on both, so good sign. And this one goes to the Sony. Alright everyone, so let me know in the comment section below which phone you think won. Now personally guys, I think both these phones clearly won in certain categories, so it's a pretty competitive race. Now lots more testing between these two phones, camera tests, battery, and more. So please subscribe for more in the future by pressing right there in the middle. Or you can watch another video right now by pressing the bottom right. Okay guys, as always, thanks for watching.